You need to show your unconscious mind that there is evidence of what is true and what is safe for you and that you are okay. Because when your mind sees what you desire and then sees you taking action towards it, it will deem it safe and normal. It normalizes it.
Hello, and welcome to Alchemy Mindset. I'm your host, Anna Hasty, business mindset coach for women and a sound healer. If you are ready to become the most aligned, magnetic, and confident businesswoman you are worthy and deserving of being, then this show is for you. This is where I share everything from mindset, energy, and spirituality, and how to embody your future self in business and life. Sprinkle that with deeply relaxing sound healings and meditations, and you have the Alchemy Mindset podcast. Hit subscribe so you always get the latest episode. Now let's begin.
Hello, welcome to the Alchemy Mindset podcast. I am so pleased that you've decided to press play on this episode. It may seem a little bit dry, and you might be thinking, is this something I really want to listen to? But let me tell you, it is. This episode is something that I've been wanting to share for a while, and it's all about the subconscious mind and how it functions, as well as leave with you some really amazing questions and self-coaching journaling prompts or techniques that you can do when you're coming up against a fear or something that's blocking you or something that's keeping you stuck within your business or life. Now, this whole episode may seem like a university lecture, but I promise you it's going to be really engaging and really fun to understand, because I truly believe that when we have a better understanding of our subconscious mind and how it works, and I literally geek out over this, like I just love it so much, and this is why I'm in what I do. But when we have, I feel, a better understanding of how our subconscious mind works, we actually are able to go, okay, now I get that. So now I can see where my programming, my beliefs, behaviors are occurring. And now I have a better understanding as to how I can flip that and change that and rewire my subconscious mind, and why the mindset work is so important when we're wanting to achieve all those goals and intentions and manifest whatever it is in our business and or life. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? So at this time of year, and we're coming towards the end of 2023, usually towards the end of the year, I always have this nudge. It's around about September time that I go, I feel like I need to work on my spirituality. I need to work on my energy. I need to do something that's really fun, but inspiring in that way. Generally at the start of the year, I often feel like I'm very much geared to doing like the practical, learning a new something or other that's like a tangible thing, like practical in a sense to my business, and I have that energy and I'm focusing on that. But it's usually about this time I'm like, yeah, I just feel like I need something really creative and flowy and intuitive and inspiring in that respect. For those who don't know, I follow and done a lot of training with Catherine Zenkina from Manifestation Babe. And I actually have my master's in manifestation thanks to her program, her signature program. And it actually has led me onto this journey to where I am here today. So amazing. And I actually have to say, secret side note, it would be an absolute dream to have Catherine on my show one day. So just putting that out there into the ether. But what I wanted to say was that recently I did her Manifestation Reset 10-day program. And it was such a good reset on manifestation and really tapped into a lot about the subconscious mind and how it can dominate so much of what we do around what we want to achieve, our intentions, our manifestations, and literally like our survival. And this is what I want to share with you today. So let's get into this. You have three aspects of your mind. There's the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and then there's the unconscious. But what we're going to be talking today is literally about the conscious and the subconscious. Now, there's a great visual out there on the interwebs, and you could probably Google it and find it. I'll actually find a copy of it and I'll link it in the show notes so you can just tap that instead. But it's basically an iceberg where you see half of it or the tip of the iceberg sort of poking above the water, and then below the water surface, you see this massive, huge extension of the iceberg that you just cannot see below the surface. And it's that image that portrays the conscious and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind dominates about 90 to 95% of our programming, of our functioning, everything that we do, and the conscious mind is about 5% of what we actually live in day to day. Our conscious mind is in our beta brainwave state. This is all about conscious mind is what we function in when we're awake. It's our beta brainwave state. It's all about our ability to analyze, rationalize, learn, engage, logical thinking, willpower. It helps us to make choices and decisions, and everything that we're generally aware of is in the conscious mind. It doesn't have access to our intuition, which is why for us, intuition sometimes never makes sense on a conscious level. It rests when we're asleep, and it thinks in like words, language, and numbers. And overall, it comes into full function after the critical faculty is installed within our brain. It comes fully online around the age of 7 onwards. Okay. And it's basically prime directive here as well, is that it can help us understand that certain short-term discomfort and pain can lead us to long-term pleasure. It plans for the future. It analyzes the past. And that's why we can often get so stuck in our thoughts between the future, the past, and we struggle to come back to the present. Now, the subconscious mind, which I said is like the supercomputer, it works 24/7 in the background. It never stops. It never rests. It doesn't need to take a break when we're sleeping or when we're awake. It's always there. It is the supercomputer that multitasks. It basically is responsible for all our beliefs, our fears, our values, our automatic thoughts, our imagination, self-identity. It's our habits, emotions, and feelings. It unconsciously does all our bodily functions. Stores our memories. It knows our cellular memory, like the perfect blueprint of our health. It knows what that is. And when I say bodily functions, it basically is telling our brain how to signal to all the other organs as to breathe in oxygen, take it down to the lungs, transfer it into carbon dioxide as you breathe out, and filter the oxygen into your bloodstream. And then the blood is pumped by the heart, it's beating at this rhythm, blood is flowing through the body, etc. You understand where we're going with this. It works really quickly. It loves to multitask. It loves commands, repetition, creating habits and pathways. It is literally the bridge between the conscious mind and the universe. This is where manifestation takes place, and it takes what it is that we're thinking or feeling, and then through imagery, it goes, right, we're going to look into the universe, into the world, into reality around us, and find more of that to create more of what we want or what the patterns are that we're living in. It can work for you and against you. It never rests, as I said, and it operates on the alpha and the theta wavelength. Let's just take a short break here and say sound bars take us from our beta brainwave state, so that conscious thinking, analytical doing, everyday mind. It allows us to rest as we go into the alpha and the theta, which is where we can access the subconscious mind, which the subconscious mind is always there. It's always doing its thing, but it's more powerful when we are in those resting states, which is where we move into the alpha and theta when we're sleeping. And when we do that, it can work even harder and faster and better for us, which is why we need rest. And also when we're doing sound baths is where we can also create that imagery and that dreaming and the imagination and allow that to come into play as to what we want to create, manifest, achieve, intend in our life. It thinks in visual symbols, metaphors. So that's why visualization is really cool. Symbolism, metaphors, particularly when we're rewiring or reprogramming the subconscious mind, it loves stories. It is actually wired to move us away from pain and keep us in pleasure, which is something we're going to talk a little bit more about. And it only knows the present moment. It can't tell the difference between what's real or imagined, and it can't tell the difference between the future or the past. It only knows what's right now here. It doesn't even really know the present. It just knows what is right here. Here's a cool thing. If you're constantly thinking over and over again the same thought that leads to an emotion or a feeling about, say, for example, something that happened in your past that was really heartbreaking, really, let's say, soul destroying, the subconscious mind actually thinks, oh, she's still thinking about this thing. She's seeing that in her mind. She's seeing the thing. She's feeling the feelings. There's emotions coming up. She does this on a regular basis. This must be part of her life. Let's find more of that. Let's do more of that. Let's create a habit, a pathway, a belief, a routine around that thing, because it doesn't understand that you're just ruminating over the past. It doesn't understand that maybe what you're projecting into the future, that's also a future moment. It hasn't even happened. The past and the future now no longer exist. What is here now? And that is only what the subconscious mind knows. And so what we've learned from the ages of 0 to 7 is what really affects and shapes and starts developing and creating our reality via the subconscious mind. That's why kids from 0 to 7, like Ava right now is a walking subconscious mind. She's a sponge. She's literally just soaking up everything in her environment. She is looking at me and Francois as her caregivers and her parents. She's seeing us how we talk to each other, how we support each other, how we express love, how we do daily habits and functions, what our beliefs are. She's developing all these routines, and she's going to develop her own over time. But a lot of her programming, say for example, conversations we might have about money or healthcare or food or relationships or things that she sees us do within all those little segments of life, like around work, around holidays and travel and lifestyle and all those segments and those categories that make up our life. She is witnessing how we evolve, what our beliefs are, how we see things, how we talk about things, how we feel about things, how we interact with things. And she's shaping that into her own version of what will be a belief and what will be a habit or a process, etc. Here's one thing. Growing up as a kid, my mum would constantly say, shut the drawers. I hate seeing crumbs in the drawers. I hate seeing crumbs in drawers. Shut all the drawers when you're in the kitchen. Don't leave them open when you're cooking. And now I've actually developed this irritation to seeing drawers open while people are chopping or doing things in the kitchen and knowing that there's crumbs in there. So for me, my belief is that you need to keep your drawers clean, you shut them. Those little habits and things like that, with all those odd little nuances that may have been passed down through people that we've grown up with and lived with. Some of them we've obviously developed on our own. There are our own neuroses. And it's not to say that even past the age of 7, she won't continue to experience or shape her own beliefs, patterns or behaviors. She still will have experiences in the world that will determine certain things. But generally, the underlying wiring starts now. When she gets from 7 onwards, that's usually when the kids go to school. They develop that critical faculty of logic, as we said, the conscious mind starting to come in, of like logic, rationality, analyzing thoughts, etc. So she'll be using that more as she goes into school, but she'll still be operating perhaps from programs that she's experienced growing up between now and 7. But this is what I want to come down to. So that's just a small snapshot of what the conscious and the subconscious mind do. Here's the kicker. Neither of them communicate with each other. One speaks one language, one speaks another language. They don't talk to each other. If anything, we as ourselves have to talk to the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. We have to operate both in a way or be aware of both, but neither of them speak together. So it's not like we can exist and go, that's all right. The subconscious mind will fix that for me. Done. The subconscious mind only changes what it sees and what it's programmed to through actions and the changes within ourselves. And we have to do that on what sometimes is more of that conscious level to be then filtered into our subconscious level. Now, here's the thing about the mind overall. When you ask it a really good question, it has to give a really good answer. And when you ask it a really good question, it has to give a really good answer. The subconscious mind loves being commanded. It loves being told what to do, and it loves creating the path of least resistance, which is why habit, routine, and repetition is so important when we're wanting to change and develop the subconscious mind into a way that's going to be much more beneficial, much more joyful, and much more abundant for us in anything that we're doing. I'm going to relate the subconscious mind to our autonomic nervous system. So that's the fight or flight, rest or digest part of us that is governed by the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, or the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our resting relaxation state. As I said, the subconscious mind's prime directive is to keep us safe. It's to keep us safe from pain, from fear, from anything that isn't pleasurable. So back in our caveman days, we would have the switch between fight or flight, and it would be a clear switch. So if we were in a place where we were being under attack or our safety was being compromised, we'd flick the switch into the fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, where blood would leave our brain and go straight to our legs so that we could run faster. We'd breathe more rapidly. We'd be getting ready to mobilize our energy, so run really quickly, sprinting, not marathons. So there'd be a change within our glucose production, and we would stop digesting food. We'd actually stop wanting to desire reproduction because our life is in danger. We don't have time to have sex and procreate. And all other essentials would not be necessary for survival. We'd sprint, we'd run, we'd seek safety, shelter, danger would be over very quickly, and then the switch would be flicked back into the parasympathetic nervous system, where heart rate would begin to slow down. Our airways would become a lot more slower, much more relaxed. We'd be able to digest again. We'd probably have the desire to have sex at some stage because we'd feel safe. Our energies would be conserved and we'd be going back to more like relaxation, so that rest and digest. And our immune system would be back into full function because that's where our energy needs to be to keep us safe, to keep us healthy. So we have this essentially, and I'm sure you've heard this before, this outdated software, which is within our subconscious mind, which is within the fight and flight system, and it's outdated software in a modern day environment. So in a modern day program, and nothing is matching. Nothing meets up because we've still got this old outdated program that isn't matching this body that is still a bit like an old fashioned maybe. And as a result, we've got this old outdated software program that isn't matching the environment and the modern day world that we live in. Essentially, and I'm just going to generalize here because I know we could say there's so many different case scenarios and variations of this, but essentially a lot of us live in safety. There is nothing really that is going to attack us or take us away from the primal needs of like food, shelter, water, air to breathe. That's really all we need in life to survive. But we live in this world where we have everything. We have cars. We have the choice to do work that we want. We can have relationships that we need. We can live in nice houses, buy clothes that we want. We can do anything at a touch of a button and we can feel safe. However, there are certain things that happen in our life in this modern day world where that triggering between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system doesn't get that clear switch backwards and forwards. It's almost like the gate is slightly left open. And so energy is leaching more from one and into the other, and it's causing overall buildup of pain, a buildup of stress, a buildup of anxiety, even depression, and all the other feelings that go around being in pain and not being in pleasure. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the past or the present. It doesn't know what's real or imaginary. It's only processing what is happening right now. So if we were to look at ourselves functioning as business owners and we were being triggered by showing up on social media, it's giving us some sort of anxiety. It's making us feel really scared, unsafe. It's triggering up past emotions or habits or beliefs or something that is also in that programming of our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, she's experiencing this on a daily level. This idea of wanting to show up on this like social media thing is really scaring the crap out of her. So we don't associate this as being joyful, fun, or pleasurable. It's actually painful, and we're going to shut this down. So we're going to constantly keep that fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system open to help control and keep her safe. And what does that do? It slowly wears us away on a cellular level. We all know and we hear stories of people just getting so sick when they go on holidays. It's because leading up to their holidays, they were stressed and they were worried, or there was a lot going on, or their bodies have just shut down. And like when they're finally relaxed and resting, which being on a holiday feels safe and enjoyable, their body's just gone, oh, holy moly. All right, let's just do a moment to reset and recalibrate and just, we're in pleasure land. So that's okay. Our immune system can go up a bit. Oh, wait, you don't have much of an immune system because you haven't been feeling well. All those things. This is why I encourage sound baths, because they help us take us into that deep level of rest and can really help us relax. When we are in that state of fight or flight, these are the things that leave our body and our mind. Our ability to tap into our intuition, creativity, joy, rationality, to find the solutions, become more solution orientated, be more logical, because all the blood and all the intelligence that we need has gone to our legs so we can run really fast away from danger. But let's say we're sitting at our computer desk, we're doing the work that we're doing, we're in our shop or whatever your business might look like, teaching a yoga class or an exercise class or something. And we don't have to run fast, do we? We're not sprinting anywhere, but our ability to make all those great decisions, to feel more intuitive, to have more creativity and joy is just no longer there because we're in pain. We're constantly feeling like what we're doing is creating immense fear and pain, and it's driving us into that state where we're taking out of pleasure. And overall, the subconscious mind continuously sees this repetition. It sees that when you do have those fears, And worries, that becomes an emotion. There's a thought around it. It comes into emotion and a feeling, which then creates action, which then leads to the outcome. And then it's repeated. So in that repetition, the subconscious mind is creating its habit. It's creating a new neural pathway. It's creating the belief, and so on and so on. So you can see where this cycle starts to go and how it continues. All right, here's the but. We can change this. This isn't permanent. It's not like a tattoo, although tattoos can now be removed, but it's not permanent, okay? It's not permanently there, never to be erased again. Like I said, the subconscious mind will take us from pain, keeps us safe from pain, and it wants us to be in pleasure. It wants us to have an amazing holiday all the time. It wants us to be feeling high five, amazing, great, wonderful all the time. That's why it's there. It wants us to be living in an amazing world where we're having what we want. We can do what we want. We have fun, freedom, and joy. We're creative. We're tapping into our intuition and our guidance. We're healthy. When we're in this place and we're coming up against a block or something that's triggering you and you can feel it and you know that this isn't a healthy habit or routine or thing that's happening, but your overall intentional goal is something much more pleasurable. Let's say we're coming up to Christmas. So there's a lot of starting to be talk of like, it's almost the end of the year and have you achieved your goals and you've only got this many days left. There's still time. And maybe you're setting a goal or intention to make certain amount of dollars or to sell so many products or to reach so many people within that time. And it can feel really burdening, maybe stressful, maybe worrying because you're like, how the hell am I going to do this? Everybody else is going to be doing their sales. Maybe the thought of having to show up on social media or send another email or to do some networking or whatever it is to get those sales, to make those, to achieve those outcomes is really stressful. It's scary. You don't know how it's going to happen. It's starting to trigger all sorts of snowballing things. And you know that if you did do the thing and you did make the sales and you earned the money and you helped those people and you served the world, it would take you a step closer to your ultimate goal, which is maybe to have a fabulous holiday, have a whole month off in January, or maybe you're saving to go to that amazing retreat later on next year. And you know that there's the outcome of something really pleasurable, but the fact that you have to do it to get there is really freaking you out. Here's some questions you can start asking yourself, because this, when you ask the mind a really good question, is going to give you a really good answer. And when you start understanding that, you can start taking the steps to help explore, shift, rewire, and change the subconscious mind's pattern, process, and behavior to get you into that place of pleasure, of happiness, of joy. First of all, ask yourself, and exploring all the benefits of achieving your goal and exploring all the consequences of not achieving your goal. So what would happen if you achieved your goal? Think of all the tangible things that would happen, like I'd be able to maybe buy this, I would be able to have that. Explore the emotions and the feelings around that. I would feel so proud of myself. I would be excited, elated, joyful, like freaking pleased with myself, to say the least. Even relief. Oh, I did it. That's so wonderful. And explore all the consequences of not. So what would the feelings and emotions of that be? I'd be pretty pissed off at myself. I'd be disappointed. I'd be unhappy. What would you not have from achieving that goal? I'd be still stuck behind my desk and I'm not going to go on that fabulous retreat that I'm hoping to do. Whatever it is. Then ask yourself next, why does having it far outweigh not having it? Why do you want it? Why is this so important? Why does having it far outweigh not having it? What is it in your life that's going to happen when you have it? And how freaking amazing is that going to be? And why is that so important to not having it? Because remember, the subconscious mind needs to know the pleasure around this goal or intention or manifestation and not the pain with not achieving it or having not achieved it. It wants to see how amazing it's going to feel. And when you think about it right now, I can think of plenty of goals and I just feel so great. That's amazing. And of course, the hurdles before that goal, I might be going, not so great. This is going to be so like, or I feel like we're always coming back to that feelings and the imagination. If you're into visualizing or just having that sense of awareness of what it's going to feel like, because again, the subconscious mind loves that imagery. It loves a vision. It loves symbols. It loves metaphors. It loves to feel those things because then it goes, right, this is what we're going to do. So then the next question is, knowing that we're wanting to move from pain and in towards pleasure, are there any more hidden benefits or consequences underneath this goal or intention or manifestation? And this is what I want you to explore. what are the hidden benefits and consequences? Because sometimes it's not just something that's on the surface level of, if I don't have it, this is going to happen. And if I did have it, this is going to happen. There is actually sometimes something tapping even further down underneath that is still holding you back. In mindset coaching, it's often called the secondary gain. There's the first primary one. Sometimes that's all that needs to be shifted. But sometimes if it hasn't shifted, there's something else hooking in there underneath that's stopping you from moving forwards. What we're asking ourselves is, what is the hidden benefit around this situation that if it did come into fruition, you could still potentially be hurt or in pain? So even if you achieved it, are there any hidden benefits or consequences hidden underneath that? In other words, is it far more pleasurable or safer for you to not achieve or reach your goal or your manifestation than actually having it? While we know that having achieved this goal will bring us into an amazing place of pleasure and excitement and joy, by not achieving it and reaching your goal, we can actually feel safer because actually having achieved that goal or reaching that thing in your business is a much bigger threat to your safety, to your livelihood, to your health than actually having it. Despite the fact that thing that we want is actually going to bring us much more pleasure and move us away from pain. So here's a really good example. If I make $10,000 a month consistently, I will be able to pay for business class seats and tickets to travel to my dream holiday destination with my family and stay in an amazing resort. My friends and family will see this on social media. They'll hear me talk about it. And as a result, they may judge me, question my ethics or morals with money. They may deem me as being a rich bitch. They may not be excited for me because they wish they had that and they don't, or that by having money to do those things, it's a waste of money, or whatever maybe your programming around money is, or their programming around money is, I should say. And therefore, I will be ostracized from my clan. I will be kicked out of the family Christmas photo because I am no longer in the world that they are in, or I'm no longer being perceived as who I am, which is who I'll always be. If you can see that example as being, while I really want this, it could still create pain and hold me back from being accepted within my tribe, from being in a place of safety. Maybe even in your business community, you'd get more haters because in your stories, you're like, oh, hey, look, I finally got to be in business class with my fam. This is so exciting. And someone messages and trolls you and just says, oh, rich people are greedy, or that's so selfish of you to travel like that when there's starving people in the world. Who knows? Whatever it is. Can you see where somewhere there's a hidden agenda behind this that maybe you're actually really afraid of? It's the hidden benefit and consequence of not achieving it, because it would actually be safer just to go, all right, play small, right? Maybe this is the tall poppy syndrome. Maybe it's easier just to not achieve your financial goals, to not show that you're achieving and you're successful, to stay the same as the pack and not be ostracized or deemed as anything beyond what your world and society believes. Maybe it's easier just to say, oh, we're on a holiday, didn't quite make it to dream destination or resort in business class, but we're actually in economy on the cheap airline, eating at the back of the plane near the toilets, eating the lovely plane food, and we're just going to be staying in a caravan park. It's easier, I think, for the world overall to be like, oh, that's okay, that's normal, rather than being excited and sometimes seeing someone really going for gold, which literally, if we all saw everybody going for gold and how amazing that would be, we know that they can have it, we can have it too. That's a whole nother story. But the fear is underneath that you'd be ostracized or excluded. Then that could be the fear, that could be the trigger that needs to be rewired within the subconscious mind so that you can start working towards what you want. The subconscious mind would need to see you taking action, however, to achieving that goal, knowing that it's safe for you to do, and that's the next part. Here's another quick example as well. This one was said by Catherine. You may feel that it's okay to earn and make sales that are just a couple of $100. That feels okay, that feels safe. But earning $10,000 in a sale within a program or within a month or within a week doesn't feel safe because it's not normal for you. It triggers something around your own money mindset, around receiving money and things like that. So the next part of this whole process is to ask, do you want to keep believing this? Yes or no? Then you need to look for evidence where the old belief is no longer true. If you're worried about being ostracized and people shaming you for having your business class flight and staying in a luxury resort, look for evidence where it's okay and it's safe to travel business class and to stay in that hotel, and find evidence of other examples where people have achieved money and that they can stay there and that you're safe. Maybe talk to your family if this is where it's all being triggered from, and find out who else traveled and how would they feel if they knew that you traveled business, or just, I don't know, whatever it is. I'm not here to cancel you and your family, but just, you're going to look for the evidence. That's the point we're going to. You're going to look for the evidence of where this old belief is not true. You need to show your unconscious mind that there is evidence of what is true and what is safe for you, and that you are okay. Because when your mind sees what you desire and then sees you taking action towards it, it will deem it safe and normal. It normalizes it. Love that word that we've all come to know. Normalize. It normalizes it. It goes, oh, so that's normal. That's fine. We travel business class because Auntie Susie travels business class, or my next door neighbor travels business class. That's normal. That's cool. That's exciting. And maybe if I make more money, I can take my mom and my dad on a holiday in business class. Maybe I can shout them a ticket for their anniversary or something. When it sees you taking action, it knows that it's deemed safe. It'll actually create a new neural pathway, a habit or a pattern from repetition, and know that it's okay for you to do this or to receive whatever it is that you're wanting to do, and it will do it over and over again. You're showing the subconscious how to move beyond pain and into safety, and how doing or having what you desire is incredibly expansive and safe. So this is something that you can journal out, all these questions. You can talk to your mind and say, hey mind, let's focus on this about a bit. I've often found the process for me is maybe not journaling, but I'll talk out loud to myself. I'll pick up my phone, press record, and I'll just have a great old vlog to myself about what's going on. And that can help me process. I may even use EFT tapping, and I've talked about this before. Just tapping through the points and just having a good old conversation with myself can also help me shift my emotions. And also I feel like shifts the programming that's embedded in me physically. I'm changing cellular level stuff here, and talking about it out loud and making those shifts. And I feel that when you also visualize yourself doing that thing, and how normal it will be, and how excited your friends and family will feel about you doing that thing or receiving that thing or whatever it is you want to see that outcome as, as I said, your subconscious mind is going to think it's real. It's happening in real time. That's why your imagination is so important, and daydreaming is so important. But where we're ruminating on the past or getting too caught up in the future can also be detrimental. If you're wanting to visualize yourself sitting in business class and you're taking that nice champagne and knowing the kids are okay and hubby's flicking through the movies to watch, and you're seeing yourself arrive at the resort and there's a valet that's going to take you to your chalet and a little golf buggy, and there's kids club and all the other stuff, all the luxury, and that's because you did it through your work, and you're taking yourself through that visualization of what you're achieving within your work and how amazing it is. You're going to see that, feel it, have the emotions, and it's going to start helping you take action. It's going to help start changing your subconscious mind to see what is possible, what is going to be a new reality. It then talks to the universe. It does all the deals and all the hard work and all the heavy lifting behind the scenes in an energetic universal sense, while you're taking physical 3D action, 3D as you are now on this world, on this planet, on this time. And together you co-create that manifestation. You achieve that goal. That intention is set. How amazing is that? And that's literally pretty much how simple it can be. Now, for some of us, we may need to just work a little bit harder or a little bit more in depth with a coach or with a business bestie. Hello, that's what I'm here for. And just on a quick side note, I am opening up some places within my 3-month signature coaching program. And there's also a couple of places open right now for a 90-minute one-to-one mindset coaching session. And I'll just put those links in the show notes as well. And I can help you move through this. We can do this a little bit more streamlined. We can do this a bit more quicker. And together we can just explore what is happening and look at the goals and what you're wanting to achieve, and where we can get your mindset in total alignment with what you're wanting to do, and help you get over those little hurdles of those hidden benefits and consequences, as I've said before. Woo! How do you feel now about the subconscious mind? It's not evil. It's not out there to get us. I will highlight that. It's there to support us. It's there to help us. It's doing its function day to day, but we're just living in a world where we've got this outdated program that's trying to cope and catch up to a modern day world that we live in. And somewhere in there's just that gate between parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system is not fully ticking clearly and solidly between one or the other. It's constantly, the gate is open, and that's what we're working on. So I'd love to hear your feedback on this. What do you feel or think about this episode? What makes sense? What do you have in terms of more questions? Is there anything that I did not explain clearly and you'd like some more information on? By all means, reach out. I'd love to talk more about this. This is the stuff I just go, whoa. It's a bit like the Matrix and the bit when Neo goes in to meet the Oracle and there's a little kid bending the spoon just by looking at it. And the kid just goes, there is no spoon. Like, what spoon? It's so true within our reality. Like, there is no spoon. Everything is created through our own subconscious mind and our conscious mind as well. It's powerful stuff, my friends. And this is why when we work on this, we can actually just create such an amazing collective and community and share all the amazing abundance. If I can do this, you can do this. If you can do this, I can do this. And that ripple out effect and just all the changes that we can make. Now, that's a whole nother topic and conversation, but that's where I just get so passionate. I'm like, we can have it all. We can have these lives. We need to do the work through the human experience that we're having, learning all the things that we're learning in this lifetime. But ultimately, we can have everything that we want when we know how to work and change and deal with the things that come up. Woohoo! Thank you so much for listening. Oh my goodness. I thought this was going to be a quick one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found so much help, so much useful knowledge. Have a wonderful day or evening or whatever it is that you're doing. I'm sending you so much love and I can't wait to speak to you in the next episode. Until then, bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Please rate and review this podcast so that it can continue to thrive and reach more listeners. I love to know who my listeners are, so please screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Anna F. Hasty. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.